Today on Metro Woman, we're visiting with some of the members of the Iowa 99s chapter, a women's aviation organization. We visited with a few of the members who have all inspired us to try and earn our pilot's licenses. Our last stop for the day is Iowa City to visit with the Vice President of the Iowa 99s chapter, Minetta Gardenier.
I started flying just because it was kind of a new challenge. I was getting paid a little extra to do a job on the side, and I just decided to make sure I did something fun with part of that money. And I happened to stop by the airport thinking to use it for a fundraising event, and I picked up a brochure on learning to fly. I went up for my first flight, and it was just a blast. So if somebody young came to me and asked about flying, I just would encourage them to, if they have the passion and the interest, to do it. I think once you get up in the plane and take a couple of flights, if it's something that agrees with you, you're gonna hopefully want to continue pursuing it. I wished I had done it earlier. My family was inspiration. I came from a large family, actually. Most of my brothers and sisters are older than myself. Others, I guess I've always admired women who are sort of trying to push beyond the boundaries of kind of what the norm is. And I think aviation is, to me, the one thing I find surprising is aviation is still, women are very much in the minority. There's only about 6% of women that are pilots in the field of aviation, which in this day and age I find that very, very shocking, really. So I guess one of the things I've taken on since I've been flying is to try to get more women involved in aviation. By the time I joined the 99s, I think I had my private license already. And I found very few women to fly who were involved in flying, and most of my support network, my social networks, pretty much think it's crazy for me to fly. So I think I was just trying to seek out other women who fly, and it was an avenue to do that. And I've stuck with it because there really is a good source of camaraderie there and mentoring amongst women. So it was started by Amelia Earhart in 1929, and it was called the 99s because 99 women pilots showed up to the first meeting. And clearly those women were out of the norm for their time period. And I would say one of the things that's striking with the 99s is that all of the women involved have sort of broken some barrier in a sense. They get together in about a monthly. The Iowa 99s gets together about once a month. Typically the group will fly somewhere to have lunch together and then to have a meeting. I just came back from the North Central Section spring meeting where there were about 80 women that came from basically it's a group of northern Midwestern states that get together. And it's interesting to see because you have a whole history of women in aviation sitting in the room. I mean, you have women who were WASP pilots. Some of the women have been members of the 99s at that meeting for 40, 50 years. And some have only just joined, some are just student pilots. And so you're hoping to capture their interest. I think one of the problems that the 99s is struggling with right now is to capture the interest of young women to come into the group and to stay with the group and be involved with it to move it forward.
More with the 99s when we come back. But first, here's a quick and easy recipe from Kayla Westergaard from the Iowa Egg Council.
Pizza's great any time of the day, especially for breakfast. Today we're going to be making Easy Skillet breakfast pizza. The ingredients you'll need are 5 eggs, 1 package of pizza crust mix, a 1/3 cup of skim milk, a 1/4 teaspoon of dry mustard, a dash of pepper, 6 slices of bacon cooked and crumbled, a 1/4 cup of shredded cheddar cheese, and a 1/2 cup of shredded mozzarella cheese. The first thing you want to do is grease your pan. And make sure and get the sides because you will be putting the pizza crust along the sides of your pan as well. And then I've already prepared our pizza crust mix, and you can buy the mix or you can buy the dough and just have it ready to go. And then all you want to do is spread it out throughout your pan. Now the goal is to make it even throughout the pan, and then try and get the dough up about a 1/2 inch up the sides of the pan as well. Take your beaten eggs, add your pepper, dry mustard, and milk. And beat well. Turn your stove on to medium-high heat and pour in your egg mixture, making sure to cover the entire crust. Once that is done, sprinkle on your cheeses. And your bacon. And that's it. So we're gonna let this cook for about 15 minutes, and when we come back after this break, we'll show you our final pizza egg dish.
Moving my mind and my hands at world record speed. I'm Luke Myers. If you want to be incredible, eat incredible.
Eggs. Incredible energy for body and mind.
It's quick, it's easy skillet breakfast pizza. I'm Kayla Westergaard.
Today on Metro Woman, we're visiting with some of the members of the Iowa 99's chapter, a women's aviation organization. Our last stop for the day is Iowa City to visit with the Vice President of the Iowa 99's chapter, Minetta Gardenier.
I've done the Air Race Classic now twice, which is an all-women pilots air race. And so I flew the first one 2 years ago started in Bozeman, Montana, and went to Mansfield, Massachusetts. And you meet women from all walks of life. I met a WASP pilot who flew the race, who was well into her 80s, and she finished, I think, she and her co-pilot finished second or third that year. And another woman, Ruby Sheldon, who was about 90, and her team finished again second or third. Both of these two women finished in that order. And Ruby was, I think, the first woman helicopter pilot that was licensed in the U.S. So the air race to me is memorable just because of the women that you meet during the race, and then just doing the race is exciting. So I flew from Iowa City here out to Bozeman by myself, met my co-pilot. And when you do the race, basically when you fly from one point to the next, you have to fly a timing line, which means you fly at about 200 feet above the ground, which is very low. When you come into an airport and you fly across the timing line parallel to a runway at your top speed. So that's pretty exhilarating. My plane's not a jet, it's not super fast, but flying 200 feet above the ground at about 120 knots or whatever the plane is going, it's pretty impressive. It's pretty impressive for me to go through that whole process, keeping everything together. So it's a lot of fun. When I was taking lessons, I tried to take lessons a couple times a week. And so when I'm flying, I feel like I'm on a little micro vacation. And that's what I used to tell friends and family. It's like, these are my micro vacations. I don't get to take really long vacations typically. So getting up in the air, basically you're consumed with managing the plane and thinking about what you're doing. And so anything else that was on your mind, hopefully, definitely leaves my mind right away. So it takes my mind off of a lot of stress. So it's a great reliever of tension and stress. And just being able to sort of fly and look down at the ground and sort of see the earth from a different angle is really neat.
These women have certainly inspired us to take up aviation and have taught us so much about women in aviation and the 99s. If you have a show idea, please visit our website, www.metrowoman.tv, and let us know what you'd like to see. Thanks for watching.
Iowa City traffic, Cardinal 51 Charlie is turning left downwind for runway 30, full stop Iowa City.